We crossed them in the green room, but we're going to talk about boundaries. Steph, Joe, welcome back.
I'm pretty sure we cross boundaries every day and every show. We're just boundary crossers, so we might as well shed some light on them.
Yeah.
Oh, are you streaming us too?
Yeah, I usually do.
First show?
Yeah.
Nice.
This is clearly the first time that I've done this since my volume was still apparently on.
Well, we have 2 viewers, which means so we really have 1 viewer. Who's the 1 viewer out there that's watching us?
I think it's Mary Shep.
Say
probably.
hi.
It's either going to be Mary or your mom.
Well, it says
we now have
now
2.
my mom is on. I can see him right here. It tells
There
me.
it is.
Mary.
It's Mary.
Yeah, it is Mary.
Right?
Oh, it is. Oh,
It tells
see?
me.
Wow. I didn't know we have that fancy. Look at you.
It's Facebook because I'm friends with them, so it tells me.
I don't.
Oh my god, that's like a whole different show now.
Try not
I'm
to
like,
put
we're gonna
faces
have to.
with-
Talk about boundaries.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Speaking of shows, we sat down in the green room this earlier and discussed some of our future shows. So I'm kind of excited about what we're putting together for a lineup. We'll dive into that maybe a bit later. But boundaries.
Hey, Tim Santos. Hey, Mom.
What up, Tim? Hi, Linda. Make sure she can hear me in Arizona.
That's right.
I heard, Linda, that I got a giant shout out last week because this boy don't crack. He's pretty good.
I told Joe that I said on the last show that he's the hide
That's
the body type friend.
There he is.
I mean, hide, clean up, whatever you need, I'll keep my lips zipped if I need to.
It's called biohazard in his field.
Yeah. Trauma and crime. Trauma and crime, yeah. Boundaries.
It's just one of those Fridays.
What kind of boundaries do we want to set here today?
Well, so originally when we were kind of talking and brainstorming about the show, I was thinking it could go so many different ways. Boundaries between an employer and an employee,
Right.
boundaries between like client and business, and then there's like boundaries between your vendors and
any referral partners, any people out there that you buy from. Yeah, absolutely. You could talk, how well do you know your insurance agent or your real estate agent? Are they over hanging out and you guys are getting drunk and sharing things you probably shouldn't share between each other, right? Like whatever you shouldn't tell your insurance agent because maybe they don't want to know that you have cans of paint stored in the basement, and
that's all called off record when they're off the clock.
Well, that's the thing though. Is that a boundary that you set or you don't set?
Yeah. Well, because I was like thinking, and like I primarily have worked for small businesses. Like in my working career, I worked for small businesses. Now I'm a small business owner. Yep. I've only worked for like 1 or 2 actual big corporate companies.
Okay.
That were like over $100 million.
Okay.
So, but then I was like, so working for those companies, like the more corporate environment, when I would go in, I would do what I would do, and then I'd leave. And then I wouldn't hear from anybody until 18 hours later or so when I went back.
Holiday parties?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, they would do like get-togethers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, let's
like,
explore
I'm just saying, like,
and
from
unpack the corporate boundaries.
I'm just saying, like, the work, like my work day. Like, I would go in, work my 8 or 9 hours, and I go home, and I wouldn't hear from anybody then until I went back the next day, and then I'd have emails or whatever. I didn't have my email on my phone.
Right.
There was really no way to reach me unless you actually called me. But I don't think that ever happened working in corporate.
Because there's no emergencies in that situation, really.
Yeah, because usually there's somebody that's going to handle it. So, or it will wait till the next day.
Right.
But then working for, what did Tim say?
A listener out there says, I think we've become far too comfortable in our business community with each other, to the point that I know more about your personal life than I do your business, and we aren't even friends.
Yes, very true.
Quote unquote. Friend.
Very true.
Well,
the gossip can run pretty hard, and or people like to talk about and talk.
Well, that's one of our show topics coming up. We're going to be doing a whole show on gossiping in the local small business community. Yeah. So that should be a fun and exciting show. So that should be in a couple weeks.
We will,
and we've got a couple good stories to leave.
We'll put a notice on that and say we're not looking to hear any stories unless you want to just type it in anonymously.
If it's a story about you could share it. If it's a story about somebody else, make sure you change everybody's name.
Right. So we'll talk about Sim Tantos.
Good one. All all right. So corporate world
But I feel
boundaries.
like, so there's like that boundary. You
Right.
clock out
You're
of
done.
sight, out of mind,
Right.
done till the next
my
day.
my corporate experience when I was in insurance was not the same.
But you were
I was
in
a
sales, so
broker.
that's different.
Yeah.
Like people were calling you because they wanted to buy something of you. I worked in the accounting department,
Yes.
and so we really don't even need to call me after hours unless there's like all of a sudden an IRS agent comes and nails the door shut or something.
So okay, so if I was an accountant or in that same area, I still would have crossed boundaries.
Like cross boundaries as for talking to people.
When I came into the office, I literally crossed boundaries.
No, I'm not talking about like HR stuff. I'm talking about just work stuff.
Oh, okay.
So not HR stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's maybe we'll cover that like towards the end of the show.
Okay.
But working for small business owners, I've noticed over my years that some of my bosses they were the owner of the business, had no like boundary in the aspect of communicating with me. Like they wanted the email on my phone, and then they would call me at all hours of the day and night, even to the extent when I'd be on vacation, they'd call, or there was still that expectation to work. And just because you as an owner want to work 27 hours a day doesn't mean me as an employee wants to work 27 hours a day.
Right. We have a phenomenal employee, our operations manager, Josh. He has been on the show.
Yeah.
And he's on vacation right now. And it's funny because like we gave him the like 2 days before he actually left on vacation. He left up for vacation yesterday. And we gave him Tuesday. We're like, yeah, go, whatever, this and that, go be home. He's like, I want to be around and this and that before we go on vacation. Great. Sounds good. You deserve it. Go do. Well, he still was doing paperwork at home, answering phone calls, setting things up and doing stuff, even though we're like, dude, go be off, go do your thing. We'll figure it out. And we'll handle it. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's not like we have to tell him, right? Instead of it kind of being the opposite way, we have to make sure that we're like, dude, go have fun. Go stop looking at your phone and go be with your family.
Right. Well, I think it's like different. Like if he decides that he wants to just like put like a order in with a vendor real quick because it popped in his head versus you calling him. I mean, like I've told this story before, like even on my wedding day, my boss was calling me and I'm on the phone going down to walk down the aisle. Like he didn't care at all. Or like I was in New Orleans for Gavin's 18th birthday that year and didn't care at all. Like would call me and ask me questions about things that were literally in the computer, but because he didn't know how to work the software, he had to call me.
That was one of the reasons that I left the insurance world, was because my old boss was not understanding of what I wanted in my life, right? With my job, I could easily operate very well. There's nothing that's an emergency in insurance. If I can get a job done on Monday morning, just as fast as I can get it done Friday night.
Right.
Well, because I'm not going to get it done Friday night.
Oh, I guess.
No underwriter is going to get it done Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be done Monday morning. So I might as well just get in early Monday morning and get it done first thing Monday morning instead of bothering people Friday or any time over the weekend.
Well, I mean, like him calling me to ask me to order 67 linear feet of a tile, he could have dialed the phone number of the vendor and been like, hey, can I get 67 linear feet of this tile? It would have been the same amount of time on the phone. But he did it to me on purpose because he was bitter and angry that I took personal time to go enjoy and do things with my family. And he didn't do that with his family. So he would put that same expectation on all of his management and staff. And I feel like there's like a boundary. So like I don't contact my staff after they leave at like whatever 1-2 o'clock when they leave.
Right.
I don't contact them till the next day. If I need something from them, I'll type up an email so then we both will remember in the morning because of how much I hated it being bothered and never really being off.
So now, do you find that what?
Mary Chef says my boss has no boundaries. Literally is everywhere I go.
No, see, she follows her boss everywhere around. Yeah. So there. So I feel that if you were to draw that boundary and they were to cross it, that's an issue. But if you were to be in the same position with a different human being, your experience would have been much different. I feel like it was that human being.
No. Like, no, I mean,
that
well, I mean,
boss,
I worked with him at 2 different companies.
Right.
But even
so fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, like, shame on me.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like there needs to be like a respect of people's time. Like, if you're not going to pay me to answer the phone or pay for my phone or whatever, and I'm still on vacation and you're making me use my vacation time, but then you expect me to answer the phone, I think that that's absurd.
Which now my question is, absurd is totally it. Why pick up the phone?
Because I feel obligated to answer the phone. I don't know, because it's my boss.
But, don't pick up the phone.
I mean, I guess I probably could have done that.
If you didn't pick up the phone, what would have happened? He left you a voicemail?
No, I would have got like a barrage of text messages probably.
Okay, so you put it in the right spot. It feels good, and you move on.
I guess if I would have established that. But I mean, like, how many people have I want to know, like, how many people have the confidence out there to do that with their boss, though? Like, would you ignore your boss?
Absolutely. I've done it before. I do it now. Well, sorry, Carrie. No. But I totally did it when in my corporate world, when I had real bosses. If he was reaching out and I knew what he was reaching out for was not something that needed to be done. I mean, I worked in insurance. It's not like something needs to be handled right away. I was the first person in the office every morning.
Right.
I was in the office at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I could easily put in 2 hours of work before anybody was even showing up to the office. So I knew I could handle whatever came in over the weekend.
Right.
And get stuff done. I was well prepared for that.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't worried about. So I would ignore my boss.
Tim says that it's that only your boss when you're on the clock, and then my mom agrees absolutely. I don't know.
I think your mom agrees with me, maybe not, but Tim too. Yeah.
But I feel like it's like, I guess maybe in my situation it was a weird, blurry situation because we were friends. We were friends, like that. He came to his wife came to my baby shower when Eli was born.
Which that's a
came to my wedding party.
Ooh, that's a boundary in itself. Like, how far do you go?
Rich is the uncle of his kid, so it's like we're kind of family-ish. Not anymore. I mean, whatever. I don't know how to describe it, but like.
We hired. So let's shift gears just slightly. We hired my oldest daughter's one of her good friends, the little boy that lives up the road from us. They're a neighbor of ours, and we became good friends with them, and with their parents. And in doing so, the wife was like, the mom was like, hey, she's really organized, and like, hey, we need a contents person, manage our contents. So we hired her. So like, we literally hired a friend, neighbor, whose kid is friends with our kid. So like, that's like the epitome of what could be a big disaster, in that they're literally at, like, 5 doors up the road from us. Our kids hang out every day, right? So like, if something goes wrong in the employment, is the relationship gonna fall apart or continue, right? Is that something that you go, do you do? Some people say just don't ever do it, because there's so much that could happen that could be negative, but there's also so much that could be positive out of it, right? They have a second income in their family and are living comfortably, bought a new car, right? They're supporting 3 boys that go to lacrosse,
right.
Like,
I don't know. I mean, I guess like I'm happy that so far I haven't hired any friends. The employees that I've had throughout Steph's books are all strangers. And yes, like we do chat and we do talk about TV shows, what's going on in their family's life. So I mean, I know stuff about them outside of personal
relationship, yes.
But absolutely. I just feel like it's a crossing of a boundary for me to message them outside of business hours. Like, there's nothing that I really
outside of business hours that's business related.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, like sometimes I'll get a text message randomly on the weekend about some TV show or something, but like that's
totally.
But that's not
totally.
work.
That's personal. That's not something they have to reply to. Now we know where you get it from, Steph. Linda says, I could ignore them even if I'm on the clock. Yeah, we know. I figured that, Linda. Mm-hmm. You sound like that kind of person. What else did she say? Joe, she wouldn't even hire me. I bet she wouldn't, but I bet there's somebody out there that you'll be like, one day in life, you're going to be like, oh, you're good. You'd be a great employee, even though I know you before as a personal person. Right. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I just think that like there has to be some type of boundary or respect level when somebody's not on the clock and it's not like mission critical and nobody technically reports to them.
See, you have a very, and again, I'm going to revert back to, you have a very tainted version of boss employee outside the clock relationship because of your past.
Well, I just feel like it's not reciprocated though. That's like the thing. Like if you want me to answer my phone, which I did every single time when I was off of work, like I was even at a hospital with a family member and he knew that's what was going on and still contacted me. And
again, I'm gonna revert back to the fool me once, shame on you.
But I still answered my phone.
Shame on me.
But then like on the flip side of the coin, like if I needed to leave work early or I needed like a little come in late because of something with shuffling the kids around or something, it was like World War III. So like that same thing was not reciprocated. So then it made it even more icky and made me even want to define a lot more red tape then.
Note from the audience.
Yeah, I was just going to say that a boss employee relationship is always that on the clock or off the clock. And here's why. If you're my boss and you're like, hey, we're going to go to a Cubs game. I got tickets. You and your wife want to come? And I go, yeah, man, that'd be great. In the back of my mind, still as an employee, I'm like, you're my boss. I can't, paint my chest blue with a big red C on it like I do all the time. I'm a chest painter because my boss is there. And every time then we sit down in the office, he's going to remember my blue chest painting. It's very much like when Harry met Sally. Men and women can't be friends. It can't happen. Boss and employee can't be friends. It just can't happen.
I think it can. I think
you would like to believe so.
No, hang on now. I think that it can, but there's not the as in depth of a relationship friendship that you get, right? Because you can still be superficial friends, right? You're still can
what I would
hang
call
out,
school
right?
friends.
Yeah, exactly. Like, right. Like when you're in fourth grade and it's your birthday and you have a birthday party, you invite the entire class to your birthday party, right? It's not that you're going to have super good friends.
Mary disagrees with you.
With who? With Kent?
No, she disagrees with Joe. Kent. He was the one talking. And of course, Linda says I agree with Kent. Love you, Linda. God bless you.
Okay. Well, clearly we're getting some responses on this.
I feel like you can be like friendly with your staff as a boss to employee, but I feel like once you start getting into that like friendship, then I feel like it starts to blur lines on expectations and the deliverable.
Yeah,
what did
thank
Tim
you.
Say?
Mary said she disagrees with Kent.
Oh.
Well, Mary, great. So anybody who watches My Loso Lifestyle, she's going to be off the air for all of July. Period.
What does Tim Santos say?
Tim says it's okay that he remembers your blue chest as long as it doesn't affect your work. There is really no need to paint your chest. It's all in your head.
Illegal activities would be exception
of course.
Friends and family are whole different worlds. Absolutely, Linda. So my thought is I can invite my employees to a game, right? And I can take them, which we've done before, right? We've taken our employees to a game for an employee appreciation type thing. Everybody was able to have fun, represent their team.
Yeah, see, but that's a work function again.
It's a work function, but it's not like we're going there to talk work and talk, right? We're going there to
but it's
build
still a work
our
function.
relationship.
So
Those
people's guards are still up
above and beyond simply having that work function. Now, after that, right, like whether or not people want to be friends outside of work, I am not one that believes that I should have deep relationships outside of work.
Yeah, that's what Kent's saying.
Right. That I believe in that, but I think that there is some level of friendship that is happening.
Well, like you're friendly with them, like because
not friendly. That sounds dirty.
Well, I mean, like like we would do an employee appreciation picnic at the construction company that I worked for. Yeah. So I would put together the picnic. People would come. They'd bring their wives. They'd bring their kids. I personally would be doing all the face painting and all this stuff for the kids and get like activities and stuff going. But it's like nice to see people in a non-work environment and see them in a little slightly more relaxed environment. But it's not like after that we went and had double dates and dinners. Like there was still that boundary.
I know, but that's what I'm saying though is some people could go and not double date, but like go and say, hey, I like to disc golf or I like to golf. Let's go play golf sometime, right? So there is that outside of where you talk about, hey, how's your kids? How's your this? You are being friendly. But
so you just came back from a business trip, and you also came back from a little bit of a guy's trip.
Correct.
How many of those guys work with you on the guys trip?
Work with me?
Yeah, work for you?
None of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
What I knew you were. Hey. I mean, but then the trip that we just went on, where it was a business trip, right, with my salespeople. It was a great team building experience as well because we climbed to the top of Pikes Peak. We did stuff outside of
team building,
work related things.
Team building's part of building your team.
We still were talking personal stuff. We still were hanging out.
Yeah,
we
but
still were joking.
Talk personal because
how many decks did you jump off of?
Building friendships, right? That's still building friendships.
How many sheds did you jump off of? None.
I'm a little prohibited from climbing too high or too low right now.
I
understand where you're coming from, but in my mind, this is what I'm seeing as you guys are seeing as a black and white friends versus not friend, right? I'm seeing it as there's a lot more than just black and white.
Yeah, but like I think that where there's like that area, there's that area where you're nice and cordial.
The one
so I'm just saying, like,
after the balls and before the butthole.
Yeah, you don't want me to use the word friendly, but like there's
perineum.
You know, like cordial or whatever, because you spend a lot of time with this person.
It's more than cordial.
But like
Mary said, absolutely, maybe a little too personal conversations.
Listen,
I put the word "too" in there.
There were some conversations during this stress. So I'm trying to hold back from the flatulence that might have flown.
But Tim Santos does say, employer paid business trips. That's on the clock. Rules apply.
Which is true. But at the same, you're not going around. You're not going around snorting coke and doing whatever, strip clubs you want to do when you do.
We're not taking body shots off the boss.
Right.
Well, I was at an event.
My belly button doesn't hold that much.
I was at an event, and one of the branch managers, when I did subprime finance, got so drunk that he threw up on the VP of the company's shoes.
Whoa.
Yep. And he still had a job, but like it was a whole thing.
But when I was in, speaking of that, when I was in the shoe store, I managed a shoe store from like in my early 20s, and
you threw up in a pair of shoes and sold it.
No.
Oh.
No. But we had this. All the managers got called into a regional meeting. We did a big management meeting, and where we got to go and meet all the shoemakers and the salespeople and get some free shoes and free stuff and learn and team build and whatever. And the first night we got there, I got what we call first night itis in my family. And I got first night itis. And when we got there and we went out to the bar that was in the hotel, and it had these stupid pillars with glass panels in between the pillars. And I thought the one right next to me on my chair, so I'm sitting in a chair like this, right? And I thought the one right next to me was wide open, and the one over had the glass. I was wrong. It was the other way around. And I got off my chair and went wham right into the glass, and just dong right into the glass. Luckily, that shit was sturdy, because if it was anything flimsy, I would have walked right through it.
Hey.
I hit that sucker so hard. Shook myself a little bit. Everybody laughed. I laughed it off. I went to bed.
Gotta go. Shayna welcomes in. Hey, first time listener. What?
We're talking about creating boundaries between business owners and employees, or businesses and clients.
Well, here's
Really
here's what I'll say. As an employer, as a boss, you always want to have that little, hey, we're buddies. But as an employee, it never is. Like my boss, hey, yeah, you want to go sailing out on my 30-foot sailboat, out on Lake Michigan? Oh, yeah, man, that'd be cool.
Yep.
Still my boss.
Yep. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Employee always looks
that boundary,
at it one way.
that boundary never moves for the employee. Like,
correct.
Yeah.
I will say that through and through.
Yeah.
And
I also think it's different between owner versus employee, and then management, like middle management versus staff. Yeah. There's like a whole different
not only that, but you get that difference in when you are a small business owner versus when you start to get into start to build mid management and start to have layers to your company. Now you start to develop a difference between you and the laborers, the technicians, or whatever. There is a layer in between. You're not seeing them. You're not touching them as much, right?
Ever. Not touching them ever.
Right. Never mind. But one funny story that Carrie likes to tell, and she's told it before, but we had our very, very first employee. What's so funny?
Just Tim catching Shayna up. If you just tuned in, yes, the conversation is about snorting coke, body shots, taint, and boundaries.
And we have touched on all those, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we've crossed all boundaries in order to talk about boundaries. So when you cross boundaries, you lose profit. We had a very, very first employee when we were very small. Still, when we started our business, worked from our garage, and business was out of garage. So our one employee reported to our house, and you have to where do you draw the boundaries then? Right? They're coming in and sitting at your kitchen table if you're having a meeting. Right? All of our equipment was in our garage. So they're going into our garage to get equipment and get stuff, right? They're in our house. And so we got to a certain point where we were building and we were growing. And I said to my wife, we need to get some space. It was coming up on winter. I was more worried about the equipment in the garage being cold and the van being outside in the winter and freezing. And so that was my main concern. But I'm like, we need to get it in space. We need to get space. She goes, no. Say, wait, make it hurt. And so finally one day she was upstairs in our master bedroom taking a nap, and our employee was not a bright employee. So he did not know the lines and the boundaries. And so he came in and had a question about where the air filters were for our, negative air machines. And he literally walked up, the door was closed to our master bedroom, walked into our master bedroom while Carrie was taking a nap and said, hey, Carrie, where's the filters to the HEPA filters, and to the air machines? And she's like, Will, get the fuck out. And was like, I was like, I didn't even, she called me. She goes, we're getting a shop now. I'm okay. I'm on board. Go find a shop. Let's get a shop right now. And I'm like, what happened? What do you mean? Why?
And you found a nice one, which on Tuesday, by the way, a little open house, right?
Tuesday we have
Just
our
throw that
open
out
house.
there,
Well, the one that we found before this was actually a buddy. He had a shop that was a little too big for him. And I said, can I just rent a corner of your shop? And we came up with a deal, and I rented a corner of his shop for a winter to get us a little bit further down the line from paying full lease. And then we finally moved into the shop we're in now. And then we'll then we expanded into another one. But yes, Tuesday.
Yeah, listen, you're listening to 21.6 The Net. See, there it is. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
it's
Mary,
like,
we have the same tapping noise.
it's
that you
like
had
the
in your
robot
show.
or something up there is moving. It's crazy.
Well, stop now that you guys talked about
Of course, right. Of course, you're listening to 21.6 The Net. This is In the Know with Steph and Joe, brought to you through the financial support
Steph
of
is
our good
freaked out and
friends
about to
over
be
at
gone.
Epic Media Inc. You know, when you're truly authentic, there can be no competitors. With the continued growth of technology these days, it's essential that you have an effective internet marketing strategy in place for your business. Whether you need a custom website designed or help integrating social media accounts to your business marketing program, Epic Media is the company you want to rely on for your business. Check them out at www.epicmediainc.com. Now go ahead and tell us about your little party now at the new place on Tuesday. You've got an open house.
Yeah, so we expanded from our original shop that we got, and we have a big contents facility, so we're ready to showcase it. So we wanted to do an open house. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be at 150 South Virginia Road, not street. Don't go to 150 South Virginia Street.
No, but they're kind of by Nick's Pizza.
Yeah, we're south of Nick's Pizza on Virginia Road. So yeah, 150 South Virginia
28th.
Road.
It's a Tuesday.
Yep, it's on Tuesday. There's parking across the street.
So
you get your parking on, and then you walk across the street. We'll have food. We have some beers.
And it goes from
wine.
5 to whenever.
I don't think we actually put an end date time on it. Because
will there be a golf cart to transport us from across the street?
Short. They're short
it might
legs.
Be, maybe hot out.
You can walk it. It
yeah,
won't be big.
I'll stop by and visit, but of course that Tuesday night at 7:15 we've got Let Me Tell You Something, Brother, right here on 21.6 The Net from 7:15 to 8:15.
Well, hopefully they give us a shout out that they missed.
They may be there.
They come to the mixer for the first start of the day,
right?
Or
first start of the day. Well, we know what's Steph's books.
Yeah,
we'll be there all day. We'll help
going hard.
That's right. That's right. That is great.
So boundaries. I believe that you should have some. I think that the line is kind of fuzzy, especially when you start your business.
I was just gonna say it's probably Uncle Pete because we've crossed a lot of HR boundaries. He's probably
right.
Yeah,
hey,
I mean,
hello, McFly.
I'm curious to see what that actually is making that, because it sounds like it's going to be like HVAC or animal.
Never had.
What are you going to do? You're going to go into the utility room next door?
Digging some holes, or we just lift the ceiling tile and see what's up there.
No.
If you want.
Be like a raccoon or something. It's going to scratch you in the face.
If you want. It's stopped now.
No. That wouldn't happen.
It did. Sounds like that.
As soon as you started talking about it, it stopped.
It's like that little porcelain hand.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or like
weird.
the robot's trying to do something.
So, but
you want to move on from this stuff? You don't want to dwell on this stuff?
Nope. This is a topic for on Wednesdays when anything
That's
Boomer and Jones, because they've switched now to talking all about paranormal stuff. So this is a topic for them.
It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah. Come on.
What about Yeti?
That's
come on the show. I scared them last time. They were on for their first Wednesday show or whatever.
Yeah.
I had to come to my office to pick something up, and I saw their cars out there. So I came in the door, but you can't see me over that little wall there.
Well, you can't see you over any wall.
Right. So they couldn't see me, and they're talking about ghosts and all this stuff, and then like the door opens all quiet and slow. Yeah. So, but anyway, we're so off topic.
That's hilarious.
But so I guess let's talk, because now we're getting into the bottom half of the hour. So let's kind of switch it up from employees to talk about clients, like setting boundaries with clients. Because I totally have not done the best job with that, as for it being like not like for like the when is an appropriate time to contact me about your bookkeeping or books or what it be.
Somebody going to call you at 9:00 at night because a question popped in their head and they don't have the wherewithal to write it down, versus calling you and going, "Hey, I had this question and blah 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 blah," and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like, I mean, I get like sometimes I'll get a phone call or a text message or whatever at 10:30 at night.
Which we're an emergency business, so we have.
Well, that's different.
Well, sort of. Hang on now, because. Right when I was walking out and I was explaining to Carrie the thing, she goes, "Oh yeah, you need to make mention." And so this is the one thing she said I have to make mention of, is she goes, "You need to make mention of how people will call us at 2 a.m. because they're up and they're thinking about it. And so they want to schedule a mold appointment estimate for 1 week, but they decide to call at 2 a.m.
Right. But like, I send emails out sometimes, and it's, in the middle of the night sometimes when I send the emails.
Yeah.
But I feel like an email is very different than a phone call.
Oh, for sure.
So I feel like if I found mold at 2 a.m. or something in my house, I would just shoot you an email, because it's not like my house is on fire and I need you to come and do something,
right,
or whatever. I don't know what you would do really, if
board up.
Yeah. Sound like, there you go.
Yeah. Yes.
Sound like I need you to come with some plywood and all that. It's
Correct.
Mold. It'll still be there in the
tomorrow,
morning.
just the same.
Right.
Right.
So I just think that it's
all mold is not emergencies. I just want everybody to know that. No 2 o'clock calls in the morning saying, I have mold. Can you come?
Well, especially since Carrie is the one that answers. Like, it's not like you guys have some answering service that could divide the call to determine whether it's an emergency, or they put it in like a little log thing, and then you get the log in the morning of what you need to do.
We do, but here's a tough thing. We do have a call service because we get cold calls, and we don't want to deal with a bunch of cold calls, right? Mm-hmm. Answering calls 24/7, plus taking 20 calls at 5 o'clock, between 5 and 7 o'clock in the evening, because that's when they want to call you. Mm-hmm. So our answering service is only really there to gather the initial information on clients, and then to screen out the cold calls. And then after that, they gather the information, they put it into our system, and then they transfer it over. But, I guess we could tell them but they're still going to call us and say, hey, got so-and-so on the line. What do you want me to do?
Well, you could just say specifically, like, if they're calling because they found mold in their laundry room, I'll take the call in the morning. And then the call center would be like, oh, I'll have my technician call you in the morning.
Yeah. But
I feel like that's pretty simple.
It is, but then you're giving it to the call center to make that choice.
No, just the one specific thing that you and Carrie both agree as owners that's not an emergency.
How many people word it that exact way?
No, you give them a script.
I know, not the call person. How many clients call up and go, oh, yeah,
Oh, it's like specifically mold?
Yeah. It's this. I got some smell, odor, and I want it to get rid of.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you in the green room or after the show.
You don't want to disseminate it over the
No,
air?
there was this weird smell, but I found it. It was weird. I'll tell you later.
What was it? I want to know now. Kent wants to know. I think all of our audience wants to know now. Should we catch up on our texts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shayna asked, how big is the account that calls you at 10 or texts you at 10?
Usually it's my smallest accounts that call me after hours.
Interesting.
So that's that 80-20 rule?
Yeah.
80%, most, what is it? 80% of your clients take 20% of your time, and 20% of your clients take 80% of your time?
Usually, like, my bigger clients want the same kind of boundary, and they've built their business to the point where they can have that boundary.
Yep.
So then that's why they do that. The
smaller clients.
And then the smaller businesses or startup businesses tend to contact when they're off work, because they're the one that's working in the business still. They haven't hired a staff yet. So that's when they're available to talk.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of.
And can you establish that right away when you do you establish that right away?
No, I've done such a poor job at that. Okay.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it's totally my fault. 100%.
Tim, who of course is on vacation, says once we put hours of operations processes for all aspects of our communication and got organized with our time by using a calendar, the boundaries just kind of set themselves with our clients for the most part. Usually friends and family are the ones that don't respect the boundary.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I think I text messaged Tim totally after hours one day.
Yeah.
Or maybe twice. I think I did. Yeah.
Oh, Linda. Really? You know what we're talking about.
Linda. Yeah, I know that he's totally talking about me.
Yeah. Well, And then I try to be as understanding of somebody else's industry as possible, and know, hey, I know where you're at in your industry, and where what makes sense for the way you want to do business, right? Like, I try to be very respectful of somebody else's industry. But if I need something, I know where you can there's that gray area, and I can get stuff done through you.
Like, it's like
if I ask for
well,
something.
I don't care about like the after hours text messages. If I'm able and available, I'll respond. But if I don't respond until like Monday, I don't feel like you can be mad about it.
No.
Like if you text me on Saturday and I have some family thing going on or whatever, or I just need a day, and I contact you back within normal business hours on Monday, then I don't see how you could be mad, because there's nothing that's going on in my industry that's a 5-alarm fire.
Totally.
You know, unless it's in the like something to do with payroll or it's something to do with an audit.
Payroll
maybe.
The next day, right. Payroll audit right then and there, and you're in there in the moment.
Right. If we're in the midst of an audit,
standing in your office, going, "We need this."
So like
that makes sense.
Like there's certain things like
but that audit should be done during business hours anyway.
Right.
It's not like you're going to be surprised with something outside of that.
What did my mom ask? I'm not answering that question.
So Shayna says neurotic people pay well for the little extra special feeling.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. But I will say that if you set up the boundaries and say you want to contact me after, it's X amount, right, per whatever, and you set those boundaries, I think you could definitely make more money off of a neurotic person that wants to reach out all the time. Absolutely.
And then, of course, Linda, well, do friends and family have the same boundaries? To which Tim Santos says, yes, friends and family that are clients have same client boundaries.
See, and here we are drawing gray areas again. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of gray areas out there. I think that if you're setting boundaries for a client, right, that should be done first and foremost in the initial interview with client and, you know, business owner or whatever, saying, hey, this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is our protocol. You need to contact us. This is how you get a hold of us.
So in my lending career, that's what I say. I go, I'm a little different than most bankers. If you text me or call me on a weekend or an evening, if I'm not with my family doing something, I'll pick up the phone.
Right.
If I am, I'll get back with you as quickly as I can. They're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I'll never bother you. Oh, yeah, okay.
Bullshit.
Right. But that's why I tell them. Now, me myself, I prefer the Ricky Bobby approach, right? So it's like, remember, hey, with all due respect, like you can't just say all due respect, right? And say whatever you want. So I always lead with hey, I know I'm real sorry about shooting you this text at this time of day. And take your time. I try to guilt you into, no, not a big deal. Right?
Not a big deal. But if you could get back to me as soon as possible,
if you had 5 minutes, that'd be great.
Right.
Yeah.
No rush.
I don't need much of your time, but if you could give me an hour, I'd love it.
So I try the proverbial, hey, whoopsie, I know, I understand.
My bad, but
I don't necessarily care so much, like I said, but it's just like when you get mad, that's when I start to care, because I feel like you're already contacting me at an hour or on a weekend, and you're kind of being an asshole. But then when you don't get a response, then you just go to a different room.
with certain people, right? Your bosses have been tainting you. Your clients taint you.
Rich will tell you that I have an unhealthy.
Isn't there a song by Soft Cell, Tainted Love?
Tainted, yeah, I believe so.
But it's just,
an unhealthy love for yourself.
No, he'll tell you that I have an unhealthy value of my time.
Value of your time. Okay,
yes,
I think a lot of business owners do.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. I definitely think I'm the shit, and think my time is worth everything.
That's with a capital T at the end.
Yes, Turner T.
But I just think that I don't know. I think that I personally wish that I would have told them, like, our business hours of operation are Monday through Friday from this time to this time. Any emergencies or things you deem to be an emergency, please email. If we happen to be working over the weekend, we'll respond. If not, then Monday you'll get a call.
I wouldn't even say that. I see, like, if you're going to draw a line in the sand, draw a line stiff in the sand. Like, hey, if you reach out to us and need a response, you need to state urgent in the subject line, and every response via that we need to go through email and respond with X amount is going to cost you $100.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about last week when Sally was here about those extra calls or extra pieces of advice outside of scope and stuff, because usually that's what it is for me. It's outside of scope. It's not bookkeeping stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we were talking about potentially charging for that, because Rich said that we should be charging because that's what he did where he works. And then people stop calling. Like, I mean, or they stopped calling to ask questions and be on the phone for 45 minutes. They're just like, can you please send a tech out? This is my issue.
Right. And not only that, but you could say, hey, I'm happy to give you all this information. However, let's set up an hour and you gather your questions, and then we come in and I come in and we sit down for an hour and we can pound through all the questions, and I'm going to charge you a flat rate for an hour and you get all your stuff answered.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like that could be a fair way to do it. Yeah.
That's something to me where, like, yeah, you may have a question. Great. Write it down.
Yeah.
You get 4 or 5 questions, schedule me for an hour. Let's do an hour session. Come in, I'll charge you an hour rate, and then we're done.
Yeah.
And we can blow through all the questions. You got me for an hour. Ask me everything you want to ask me in an hour. Right? Like schedule hour long, like make it worth it, make it a billable thing.
Yeah.
Right? Make it billable.
Yeah. Well, I think if I make it billable, I think then people will see how it is, and maybe they won't have those same questions, or they'll actually, like, because I get a lot of software questions for like Bill.com or QuickBooks or whatever, like the softwares that we have listed on our website that we work within, and they think I'm IT, and I'm not IT. Like, I don't know how to troubleshoot your software. I just know how to like integrate it or set it up. Like, I could tell you some things, but I'm not.
Do you have a candid response?
For what?
For that, when somebody sends you, says, hey, I don't know what about this. Oh, reply, signature, Well,
I started telling people now that they need to contact they need to contact the software person, because I'm not, I didn't.
Right. Do you give them the contact info though?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't buy the software. You bought the software.
Okay.
Hey, you call.
Snap.
Like, the number that I have to call QuickBooks is not the same number that you have to call QuickBooks, because I have a whole accounting specific number, accountant phone number.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Well, but that's what I'm asking though, is if you could find that information and
it's called Google.
Okay, fair enough. You are putting everything on your client. I get it. Okay.
Like, I'm not putting everything on my client. I'm just saying that you're an adult. You own a business. It's your
freaking adulting.
It's your name. It's your social security number. It's your everything on the business. Like, it's your business. It's not my business.
So you want?
I just am your bookkeeper.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Fair enough.
If you want me to do business coaching and want me to do like all these other things, I know a bunch of companies out there and they charge $250 an hour is the going rate for those kind of consulting services.
See, this is where I think that you can throw in that little bit of
like, but I don't mind answering a question if I have the answer, but don't like be mad when I don't have time to do it, or don't be mad when I don't have the answer and then you want me to call QuickBooks, or you want me to call the software. I
think you're so tainted with your
Wait, would you call?
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying you're very tainted with your clients.
I'm not.
And your bosses.
I think all of my clients that I have right now. Yeah. I like them all.
All of them?
Yeah. I don't think there's one that I avoid right now. We got rid of them all. So yeah.
So who's the one that's got this such vigor built into you?
No, I'm just saying that I think that if I have like a friendly relationship with a client and I tell them that there's something going on personally, like medically or something, and I am going to be unavailable for 3 days and you need to call my staff, but then they still continue to call me and then they get mad when I don't respond, when I told you I wasn't going to respond.
See,
then I think that's shitty.
Very specific situation, which is why I think that
well, this is where all of the show topics come from. There's something that happens, and I'm like, we should talk about this because I can't be the only one that gets irritated by this. And clearly, the Santoses agree that there should be some level of respect.
Clearly. Oh, okay. All I'm saying is, okay, so you don't want people to reach out to you during certain set times.
No, it's not that I don't want them to reach out to me. I just don't have the expectation of getting a response is all I'm saying. It's just like what Kent said.
Do you set an out of office?
What, after 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
No. Why would I set an out of office after 5 p.m.?
Because you're out of office and you don't want to.
So what, every day?
What was that, Kent? What was that, Kent?
Mm-hmm.
Say that out loud.
I don't.
No, but no. No,
but
but
every day then no, because I've emailed you after 5 p.m.
I didn't say I said an out of office. People expect me not to reply.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends your business.
Our phone number or our hours are on our website. Our hours are on our Google.
It doesn't matter though.
Like,
if you're out of office and you don't want people to expect a reply, you should have a reply that says I'm out of office automatically
until 8 a.m.
Until 8 a.m. the next day, and then it turns off automatically, and you're back in answering emails. Because if you that corporate mindset is, I mean, I know a lot of people that are in insurance corporate world, and they literally can't take their phones, their work phones home. They can't take their computers home, and they log out, and their computer email automatically goes to their out of office. Automatically starts kicking out of offices right at it was 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'd send an email 1 minute after, and I'd get an out of office saying I'm not in until the next day at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or whatever time they walk in. But
to answer Shayna, in our paperwork, we have a section in our paperwork that says you will get a response within 48 hours. So it's written in our paperwork, that our contract that you sign.
Right.
It says it in there. For the expectation of deliverable and expectation of response.
What if they send you something at Friday night?
No, I think it says business days.
Oh, 48.
No, 2 business days, I think is what it says. 2 business days.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're different. Yeah, I get it. There's a difference. I get it.
It makes a difference.
Yes.
I'm gonna start picking it apart. So if somebody were to email you and say something, and you're on a Saturday, right? Ask you a question, and you weren't doing anything, you didn't send a reply, but then Saturday, mid-afternoon, right before dinner, you're surfing through your email just because you got some time sitting out by the pool, and you're like, oh, let me just check my email. So I'm checking my email. I see this email from this guy, and he's got a simple question. And I'm like, oh, yeah, boo, 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 boo. I reply real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
and then now I just fucked it up.
You just established that rapport of I will reply on the weekends.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I ruined all of that. Like the client one, that boundary.
That's what I'm saying now, though. That's what I'm saying now, though, is if you have crossed the boundary saying I will reply on the weekends.
Yeah, Tim's agreeing with you. He's saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that, Tim. Tim is a smart man. So that's what I'm saying, though, is if you've established that and you now want to backtrack out of that establishment, to me, it's set your out of office on.
I need to set the boundary, and then I need to stick with it. New client moving forward.
Right. You need to turn your out of office on, so that way, if somebody sends you an email, it automatically kicks back and says, "Hey, I'm out of the office. I will reply to you, within 2 business days, but likely sooner if this is during the week or whatever it may be." You get what I'm saying? Like, have something there that says that now reestablishes the expectation of I'm out of office, because clearly you crossed the line first.
Right. Yeah.
With the client stuff. Yeah. Because anybody can text me.
Well, because when I was running the business by myself, mm-hmm. I had to be the one to respond. Mm-hmm. It's not like I could defer it to respond to my staff. But you didn't have to
respond at
I know,
Friday night.
But it's hard not to.
But you did, right? Because
it's hard not to when if you have sales calls coming in or whatever, and you're just starting out, and you got to take every call, every sale, and then I didn't separate my business phone and my personal phone, which was stupid. And so,
as we read off your cell phone every time we do a show, yes.
So Dawn had it right when Dawn finally had enough, and she got herself a personal phone, and now only friends and family have her personal phone, mm-hmm. and
everybody else has the
clients and whatever business associates have her work phone number.
Right.
So,
but that's what I'm saying, though, is you yourself as an owner can cross the line, or whoever your business operator, right? You as a business person can cross the line with your client. It's reestablishing that expectation of, no, I'm not going to reply. I am out of office. And to me, setting a simple out of office for email is very easy. As far as text, because you can't have, right? I guess you could, but it's very hard. But I like to do shorthand texts. So if I type in JTR into my text message, just type JTR, it'll automatically fill in, "Hi, this is Joe Turner with Restoration One." It's awesome.
Oh,
it's freaking awesome. So what I would do if I were you and a client texted me, I would have a shorthanded response saying, "Hi, I'm out of the office. It's not business hours. I will reply to you in 2 business days." And just have like a, 2B2 or whatever you want your shorthand to be. So that way you literally can just hit that, boom, and it sends it right back to him saying, "I acknowledge you sent me something. However, I'm not going to reply.
right.
Give me my time."
Yeah.
Right. Like you just have to me, it's about reestablishing now. If you have crossed that boundary,
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
So we got 3.5 minutes left. So I figure
Mm-hmm.
we should let everybody know some of the upcoming topics in case anybody would like to be a guest that's out there listening on the show. We're always welcome to guests. You could either come to the studio or you could, Ken could put a link up and you could zoom in virtually and join the conversation. But so we have,
hang on. We have one more thing from Shayna. As a business owner, do you feel any additional restriction on behaviors when working with a woman, like jokes, etc.? Is that even something you feel safe answering honestly? I feel safe answering anything honestly.
I mean,
Steph, you answer that one. How do you feel about making jokes to women?
Well, I don't know. For me, like the jokes or the flirty behavior or this or that, like never has been something that has bothered me in a way where it's made me uncomfortable. Because
what about short jokes?
I get those all day, every day.
And the length of the joke has nothing to do with it.
Hey, I worked in construction for 15 years, so really there's nothing that I haven't heard, and I usually can hold my own if somebody gets
women.
My favorite joke with Steph is when she stands up to talk, and I go, "All right, stand up, Steph."
Yeah.
Or like the other day, I had to switch chairs at our networking meeting. I had to switch chairs because I couldn't figure out how to lower the chair. And it was an office chair. My feet were dangling. And I didn't like it.
She looked like a Muppet.
Chairs with somebody else. But yeah, like, I mean, I think that there's a time and a place. I think that, I think I've told the story before, but I don't know if Shane has heard it or not. But we were trying to develop our own plaster line. I worked for a pool company.
Yeah.
And a guy came in and he was explaining how to do that and shuffle the aggregates down. So we needed an agitator, which vibrated. And every time he said the word vibrate, he kept giggling and looking at me because I was the only woman in the room until I finally had enough. And I was like, yeah, I get it. You're talking about dildos, but we're really just talking about the plaster. And I'm trying to buy this machine to make a custom plaster from you. I'm like, okay, got it. Dick jokes are over now. Let's do this.
Fucking move on.
But all the guys on my team knew.
And by the way, is it cold in here?
Yeah. Not anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know, like all the guys on my team thought it was funny because
fucking
they
hilarious.
know how I don't have a problem. Like if you cross the line with me as it pertains to that, like I'll let you know. I'll use my big girl voice.
I mean, so, and that's like for me, I will never. I don't know. Are we calling them dick jokes? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like, I guess I would never make a dick joke in front of somebody initially.
Dick jokes are over now.
That I've just met, right? Like in the beginning. But I guess I would at some point make jokes because I have zero filter.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I have a small filter.
No.
But if you made a joke,
you really knew what went on in my brain. Oh man!
But if you made a joke though, and I was like, you crossed the line with telling the joke to me, like as a woman, I feel like you would take a step back and be like, okay, cool. No, don't make jokes like that in front of Stephanie anymore. And
so for me, I feel that I can judge. Yeah, I can judge people and the way they are and what they find humorous versus not humorous. And I can absolutely, do I toe the line sometimes? Probably, but I definitely know what I could definitely find a specific person's humor and play to that, that string. But, yes, I'm going to make any rude and crude jokes.
But let's do the lineup real quick. Do we have like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do it.
Okay. So next week we're going to do a rerun. Because nobody's going to be here because we're celebrating the holiday weekend of the 4th of July. But we have topics of how it is referring friends to other business owners to work as an employee, or referring your friends and family to other friends,
right,
and stuff like that. Abusive clients and referral partners,
mm-hmm.
gossiping,
Ooh.
how you conduct yourself on social media. And we're going to do a trade show where we're going to have a bunch of trades people in the building. And then we're also going to do a back to school show since the kids are going to be returning to school then in August.
So if you have if you want to be on any of those shows, please reach out to Steph or
right here at 216thenet at gmail.com.
Yeah.
But if you would like to be on the show and you definitely have a different topic, please let us know as well, because we're happy to create some new topics as well.
Oh, I guess, sorry, Tim. Yes, guys do get offended too. And I'm sure if somebody kept making vagina jokes, you could point that out then.
Oh.
I feel like it doesn't hit the same way, but I guess it works.
Some of them do.
Well, maybe they stink.
Oh,
This is
Another joke.
Show on boundaries.
Wait,
And
yeah,
do's and don'ts.
yeah.
And so-
Wait, speaking of boundaries, I heard Rich is pulling out of Steph's books.
Hey, promise here at 216thenet. Thank you for getting caught in the net. This has been In the Know with Steph and Joe. 8 o'clock tonight, of course, is the Dream Home Experts. Tomorrow morning, we've got metaphysical meanderings with Lana Duncan Hartgraves. Come back and enjoy. Until then, everybody be good, but more importantly, be good to each other.
Linda, what was the word?